And welcome in everyone to Wreckem247.com. I'm Zach Long, this is Daniel Pauling, and today we promised we would be less depressing than we were yesterday with a lot of bad news. We're going to focus in today on what Tech coaches are up to, and if you follow Daniel on social media or any of those coaches, you know that they're very busy, some key targets they're after.
I'll start with one small piece of bad news. I'm sorry, we're going to lie a little bit.
Way to go. Nice job, Daniel.
Sunday night, Cliff Kingsbury, Kevin Curtis, they went to New Orleans, Louisiana to see Tyron Johnson, the five-star wide receiver. I happened to speak with Tyron's dad. He said, look, it was a tough decision between LSU and Texas Tech. Tyron really loves Kevin Curtis. He really loves Cliff Kingsbury. They built great relationships, but I don't think Tyron Johnson's going to flip. You know, in this business, if you're not first, you're last, as the philosopher Ricky Bobby once said. Tech came in a very close second place, and I think that's going to hold until February 4th.
But they're in there working. You got to think they have an inkling that something could switch, or they wouldn't be wasting precious resources and time right now to go in there and visit him. But hey, you never know. Signing day, kid decides to switch the night before. We've seen it happen, but you're telling me not to expect it with Tyron.
I don't think so, but you know, you never know. Tyron Johnson's been a little tough to get a good read of. I thought he might commit to Texas Tech originally just because of his relationship with Kevin Curtis. Those two have been close. Kevin was pretty much the first guy to start recruiting him back when he was a freshman in high school.
Where else are they at this week, Daniel?
Yeah, maybe a big visit yesterday. David Gibbs, the defensive coordinator, Zach Spavital, the defensive assistant coach, and Trey Haverty, safeties coach. They went to see a three-star cornerback at John Tyler High School. Isaac Warren, this is a guy they met up with last week, met up with again this week. He doesn't have an offer just yet, but if they're making that many visits in a row, I think they're definitely taking a liking to him, especially when you send three big guys in your defensive staff to see him.
Yeah, three guys isn't messing around right there. Where else are they?
Darian Daniels, the four-star defensive tackle. Haverty and Gibbs also went to see him yesterday. He's the son of Tony Daniels, former Tech player. According to a source close to the situation, look, the Red Raiders are looking good, but they're going to need a strong finish to kind of pull this one over the finish line and get them.
Well, that's what they got to do right now, and hopefully they're able to get to said finish line. Where else are they trying to finish?
Tomorrow, two big visits for tomorrow. McLean Carter, he's a quarterback, 2015 guy, so that's kind of interesting that they might be trying to pull someone in. He's gotten interest from Michigan and Florida. No offers yet, but listen to this senior season. He completed 71.4% of his passes, 3,969 yards, and 47 touchdowns for a Class 4A Division II state champion in Gilmer. Those are pretty good numbers, and 6'3", 190, you can't complain about that size.
Well, and Mr. Kingsbury and Mr. Harbaugh know a thing or two about quarterback, and so if they're in there talking to the young man, he probably can play the game pretty well. Any more?
And one final one. Tech is going to go see on Thursday Tony Brown, Coach Cheverini, and Cliff are scheduled to go visit him. He had an official visit to UCLA this past weekend. I talked with his dad. He shut down his recruitment. Tech fans, don't worry. Well, unless there's time to worry later on. But he seems to be shutting down his recruitment. Is pretty solid to Tech. I think that's where he's going to end up February 4th. Yeah,
we saw that visit to UCLA, and I think a few of us were sitting there going, oh, God, here it comes. But holding strong right there. Daniel, we're out of the dead period, so these weekends are huge. Going up to signing day, you have lots of visitors coming into Lubbock. Most of these kids coming this weekend, you hope, are locked in and loaded, but there's three that haven't decided. Very important.
Right. There's 8 visitors coming in this weekend. 5 of them are Tech commits, 3 aren't. Probably the biggest name, at least on the defensive side of the ball, Arthur McGinnis, outside linebacker out of Warren, Easton, Louisiana. Teammates with Tyron Johnson. He's considering, he went to Arizona last week, Texas Tech this weekend, Oklahoma next weekend, and the big thing for him, he had originally planned to play in a high school all-star game this weekend. He said, nah, look, I'm going to take a visit to Texas Tech instead. So I got to take that as a good sign.
Yes.
He might be looking at Arizona heavily. I picked him to go to Arizona. He had an official visit out there last weekend, but a source close to the situation said, look, if he was going to commit to Arizona, he's going to commit last week when he was on that visit.
Right.
He has a teammate from Warren Easton who's heading out to Arizona, so there's kind of that relationship or that chance there. Other schools maybe to look at might be Texas A&M in this situation, but those 3, A&M, maybe a couple others might pop up. So I think he might have a top 5, top 6 right now. These guys.
Pretty elite level competition that Tech's competing against there. Target number 2.
Kevin Thomas, a KU commit. He's actually a wide receiver. Pretty big kid, 6'2", 180. Number 88 wide receiver in the country, has a few different offers, plan to make an official visit this week, and so definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Tech definitely needs that size. I think they've got receivers between about 5'10 and 6'1", so this might be the biggest guy they have at wide receiver if he decides to commit.
And number 3.
Let's take a look at Chris Warren. This guy has interest from everywhere. Number 7 or number 8 running back in the country. Big kid, 6'2", 240 pounds. His dad played in the NFL.
A little bit of football, yeah.
So he's a pretty good kid. He's making all 5 of his official visits. I think he probably ends up at Texas, but pretty much every interview he said, why does everybody think Texas is the favorite?
That's not a good sign for Texas.
That's not a good sign for Texas, but I think it's either going to come down to Texas or University of Washington. But Mike Jinks, they've built a good relationship with him, so we'll see what happens this weekend. And I think he'll make his decision on signing day, February 4th. So we'll see where he puts ink to paper with.
That is a lot of information, folks. All the more reason, go to Wreckem247.com. Follow Daniel on Twitter. We're going to be back with you early next week. We're going to update you on all this stuff because there's just a few more days until we finally can stop talking about what the hell might happen and what actually has happened when they've signed on the dotted line, and then we can all wait like little eggs incubating to see if they hatch into something worth talking about at the college level. But exciting. Follow Daniel Pauling. He will keep you advised. That's going to do it right now for our Wreckem247 recruiting update. Daniel Pauling, I'm Zach Long. We'll see you next time.